I'd like to take this moment right now to welcome the sunshine, to welcome all of you that are here today. This is such a moment for so many. Today is about honoring and recognizing the students who attended residential schools.
I'm Hazel Mckenna, and I am a residential school survivor. 10 years I went from 1954 to 1964 in Manitoba. I didn't get a good education, I didn't get a good foundation to start with. I was so far behind in my learning. And the truth be it that the nuns that taught us were not teachers, they were not educated.
There were two schools in St. Albert. There was the Catholic one, which was one up on Mission Hill, and then there was the one out at what they call the Poundmaker site now. That was the Edmonton Indian Residential School. The one up here was St. Mary's, or the Uville Home. And that one started in 1870 and closed in the 40s, and the one out at Poundmakers was from the 20s to the 60s. When I first started working out here and called it a residential school, everybody said, no, it wasn't a residential school. No, it was a convent. No, it was an industrial school. And no, it wasn't. It was a residential school. They were writing letters asking for more kids to come so they could civilize them.
I personally did not get physical or sexual abuse or anything, but I witnessed it. I saw it. And a lot of this was happening around me, but I was unaware. It's later that I found why things were happening at the school.
People were being taken away from their families, a functioning family that loves them and cares for them, and not being able to be hugged and told that they were loved. That didn't happen in those kids' life. They're disjointed from their community and from their families because you're not given that as a young person. So how do you know how to do it? It's amazing the amount of people that will say, I never knew. It's amazing how people try to ignore it or say that they didn't know. Well, you drive by these communities and you don't see any children. So where are the kids? I really do believe that this is a huge part of Canadian history that has not been talked about.
I would say to all teachers, to educators, to parents and stuff, that the children need to know the truth, because you need to know where you come from to know where you're going. And this way, when they meet us and they meet the people that have been involved in this, then it becomes real to them. We are people. We are real people just like them, just like their parents. We were young at one time and we went to school. I tell them, when I was your age, I was already away from home for so long. You know, if they're 10 years old, they're coming, I was away from home for 4 years already. And the idea that we were all orphans is not right.
It's part of our history. It's not something to be argued. It's not something to say, well, that didn't happen or it happened this way. It is what it is. And true reconciliation is when we're all on the same page with what happened in Canada, because it's a dark mark on our history, and we can't let it go. We can't shove it under the rug anymore. We've got to get it out there.
I would like to ask our survivors to stand up at this time so we can acknowledge each other. And all of you have been impacted by the school system. The Healing Garden is where anybody can come. Anywhere, any place in this world you come from, you're welcome to this garden.
The reason behind the garden is to honor the residential school survivors. When we started this project, we had a vision, and then we had a mission statement. This is to be a place of truth and reconciliation, a visible sign of our community's commitment to walk in right relations with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and with all nations.
So really wanted a place for healing in general. People from any walk of life that had experienced any kind of trauma.
The committee was the driving force behind this. We had 2 years of really, it was a tough road at times.
We were more of the advisory as to what we could do to make this a garden for everybody.
One of the things that we did right from the beginning was we went and we had an elder, we consulted an elder, and we kept him through the whole process. It really was an effort of love from all of us. It's a community, it's not a city project, it's not a church project, it's a community project, and community needs to take hold of it.
We already have schools and students interested in coming to the garden and learning about it.
We really wanted the children's voices to be heard because this really is about children and what happened to those children.
Some students made some rocks with messages on them and they brought them to the garden to honor students because they were their age. They understand, how would it feel if you were taken away from your parents and brought somewhere and were not allowed to use your language and nor your culture, so they understand that.
They're really learning about empathy, and empathy is something that you have to teach. They're learning Canadian history to ensure that this kind of history doesn't happen to anybody anywhere in the world, not just Canada, but anywhere. They will not let that happen to other children.
Our children have to be educated, and it seems better educated. Education is like our buffalo. We depended on the buffalo for survival, and now I think education is our survival again.
Justice Mary St. Clair, education got us into this mess, education will get us out of this mess.
This is not just a celebration. This is a permanent fixture. People will come and use it to, for history teachings and for teachings of what happened in our area. I believe that this is going to help bring the Aboriginal people and also the non-Aboriginal people together here to learn.
Today, we are celebrating the opening of our garden.
This is such a moment for so many. Generations upon generations wait for these moments.
This is a healing place, but after the healing, we want them to take their hand and say, yes, you are equal. We want this to be an equal society with all races, and that's really where we'd like to be with the Indigenous community and the residential school survivors.
To see this place, it took us 2 years to get here. It's been a long, long journey.
You see it on paper and then you see it in real. It's just so rewarding. It's final, it's here, it's real.
So we invite all families, any family, any background, anything, to come to our garden and come and join our circle. So from here on, we will walk together. We will walk beside each other, and we will help each other on this journey to our truth and reconciliation. The day of reconciliation is when we stop saying they, us. When we can say the word we, then that's reconciliation to me.